Hi, I'm Kristen White, and I invite you to join me each week as I interview experts who talk about the things that matter to you here on The Ripple Effect. In New Zealand, dogs are in the driver's seat of Mini Coopers as part of a campaign to find them new homes. These dogs are abandoned, forgotten, and often abused, and they're just mutts. Check out this video.
Porter was actually a little, what we call street cat.
Ginny was seized. She was found locked in a bathroom.
Monty was actually surrendered to the SPCA.
They were all good candidates, really, and so it was quite hard choosing.
Gia.
I'm envisioning a push pedal. So push for accelerator, push for brake.
So you're actually going to teach the dogs to drive.
That's clever. Good boy. Wait. Monty, Gia. Good. Wait.
You make the modifications, it's just whether the dog can work them.
Clever boy.
A dog driving a car, it's not something you see every day.
So we were really excited by the idea. Animals this smart do deserve a home. The journey that we've gone on teaching these animals to drive is just insane. It's incredible.
Your brakes off, yeah.
I love that video. You know, you may want to drive down to your local animal shelter and find a new friend to ride shotgun with you. There's a world of good news out there. I'm Kristen White. Let's start a ripple. Did you realize your beliefs about money directly impact your income? My next guest, Dr. Ron Eccles, is an expert in leadership and success. He's created the Success Operating System. He says it's not your mental health that counts, it's your mental wealth. Have you ever wondered what success looks like? You know, does it mean money in your bank account, a happy marriage, or lots of children in your home? Well, success can have many meanings, and oftentimes we may find that we have success in one area, but what might look like a failure in another area. Well, my guest today is Ron Eccles, and he is the success doctor. And he's here today to help us have a full holistic view of success. Ron, welcome to the show.
Kristen, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so, you know, what does success look like for people?
Success, I believe, is really simple. It's about figuring out what you want, what kind of outcome, what kind of result in, and I say one of four areas in life. Your financial world, your spiritual life, your physical body and health, and your relationships. We all know people that have become really wealthy, but their health is really bad when they get to that point. Or the relationships. When I work with an individual, there's not one definition because my definition of financial success might be different from someone else. But our relationships are probably all pretty similar to one another. We all want to have happy, fulfilled relationships. When I ask my clients, because I work with a lot of people one-on-one, and invariably their biggest challenge is how to manage their time effectively.
How do you manage your time effectively?
Well, that's a long.
That's my question.
That's a long conversation, and it's a really important question. As a matter of fact, I believe that the quality of the questions you ask in life can determine the quality of your life. Right. We talked about Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey, Donald Trump, very successful people, iconically in the financial world. We would say, do you think they handle their time different than us ordinary people do? Yes, absolutely they do. So if we can learn what they have done and model their system of or time management, we can get a lot more productivity out of our day and get a lot more achieved in life and get where we want to a lot quicker.
That's why you're the success doctor.
Well, I feel very blessed to be where I'm at. I don't want to take credit that I'm something special. I'm an average person, but I'm an average person who works harder than the average person to achieve the success in life. Because you know what? I believe you and I have been hardwired, we've been created, we've been designed to be successful.
How do we take what's inside and then see abundance from that in every aspect of our lives.
This is the game changer. If they will do this, and if you'll do this, you will get massive results in your life, and you can start right now. Number one is you got to believe what's possible. You look at Oprah Winfrey, you look at somebody who's come up against every adverse situation you can imagine. Who would ever think she would become the first African-American billionaire? At every disadvantage you can think of. She could have made up every excuse in the world and said, it's not possible for me, but somehow she began to believe it was possible, and it's become a reality. The second thing is, you've got to be able to write down, and I'm going to call this a declaration and an affirmation. Write this out. I don't want you to think about what you've been like in the past. I want you to think about what you want to be like in the future. You want to be optimally fit? You got to begin to affirm and declare that. You want to have better spiritual walk, better relationships, better finances?
Is it important to declare it in the present tense, like it's already happening in your life, or someday I'll be like this?
The most valuable piece of information I learned one day was the mental attitude of be, do, have. What does that mean? Here's how most people do, is they have, do, and be. Now listen carefully. Most people say, once I have $1 million, then I'll do what millionaires do, and then I'll be a millionaire. But that's backwards. You must be a millionaire here first. You don't have to have it in your bank account. You got to be wealthy financially up here. And then when you're wealthy financially up here, you'll do what wealthy people do. And then guess what? You have what wealthy people have. And that's why we talked about mental wealth.
So I understand you also, not only do you work with people privately, but you also have a program?
What I did was I created my group coaching program called the Success Operating System. And I recorded the entire program, the step-by-step system that'll take you through all my materials. It's 35 years of information, probably more than 30,000 hours of accumulated knowledge, of practical knowledge. Because I started out to find success for me. Right. And along the way discovered the principles by studying successful people, successful businesses, and just success in general.
So to anyone out there who's watching and wants to have an opportunity to, just to kind of plug in and get that mental wealth mindset, give them one little tip from inside that success operating system. Absolutely.
Repeat two things when you wake up every single morning. Number one, I want you to say, if not now, when? You see, that puts a urgency. Time is going by. So if not now, when? And that tells you, take action now. Then if not me, who? That's the second question. If not me, who says, I deserve it. If I'm going to have something, it's up to me. I've got to go after it. I've got to take the action and move. So those two questions can radically change your life. Dr. Ron Eccles, thank you so much for being here, the success doctor, and being part of this incredible ripple effect that's going on in the world today. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen.
It's possible to save your home from a short sale or a foreclosure. Meet Tony Martinez, my next guest. He's a real estate expert and the creator of Note Settler. It's a system to help you save your home, even at the very last minute. Hi, I'm Kristen White, host of The Ripple Effect. If you enjoy the interviews on the show, well, I have good news for you. You can learn more from these amazing experts who appeared on the show. All you need to do is go to the website, KristenWhiteTV.com, and guess what you'll find there? An extended interview, more than 15 minutes long, about all of the extra wisdom that we just couldn't even fit into the show. So go to Kristen White TV online, look up your expert's name, and learn everything else that they had to contribute that we simply couldn't fit into the show. See you on the website. It's an American tragedy. We've all heard of the homeowners crisis. And even now, there's more than 11 million homeowners that are delinquent. Well, my expert today, Tony Martinez, has a solution for any homeowner across this country to keep their home and turn it around. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So what's going on out there?
Well, unfortunately, there's, like you mentioned, there's a tremendous amount of homeowners that have fallen delinquent on their mortgages because of the economy falling. So housing has been devalued to such a great level that they're not able to keep up with it. Ironically, the main cause to it, a lot of people consider it to be the banking industry or the mortgage industry, and really now it lies on consumer confidence, which comes to jobs.
It can be so scary for Americans, you know, what's happening with their homes. I mean, you can't pay the mortgage and then you've got a place for your family. What's your advice to somebody who's either in this position or worried about it all the time?
I was a builder in the late 80s, early 90s, and when the market crashed the last time. And I was unaware of what was going to come in my future. And it was devastating to me. And so what I learned to do through all of my time and effort and my goal to help people was I realized there was a niche that the government and banks weren't able to help homeowners with, and that is the resolution and the acquisition of notes. So with the resolution, we're able to help a homeowner who may have a second and actually settle it or acquire it for them and reduce their mortgage and their monthly payment.
How many people out there are offering a program like what you have?
To my knowledge, not very many. The banks are in a position to actually work with us on an honest, fair level. My goal is to really help the homeowner stay in their home. Unfortunately, even with the best resolution or in some cases where people get modifications, lowering their payment still isn't good if you're out of a job. Mm-hmm. So for example, I had one couple came to me at the last minute, 2 weeks before the sale of their home was going to be foreclosed on. And the husband hadn't worked in 15 months. The wife was ill. Mm-hmm. And they were in their late 50s, early 60s, so a new career was not imminent for them. Didn't know what to do. And so they came to me. We were able to resolve their second, sell their house, and put $48,000 in their pocket.
Wow.
So now that at least they got a new start. And hopefully, you know, depending on their financial situation, had another year or two to figure it out.
So we've seen it with a lot of people in this country, you know, they lose their jobs and then they get behind on payments and then suddenly they find that they have bad credit. And it seems like today it's almost impossible for someone with bad credit to do something with the loan or mortgage on their house. How do you offer an alternative to that?
Well, that's one of the advantages we have is that we can look at it based on their current situation. Mm-hmm. So credit is not an issue. We understand that going in. That's one of the reasons we're able to purchase the notes at such a discounted price, because it's not working for the bank. It's almost like a fire sale or a garage sale. And until that person can either get more income from better employment or repair their credit, and in some cases that can just take an inordinate amount of time. So the banks, that's again one of the motivational reasons they want to sell off this bad debt. So from our perspective, or from an investor's perspective, that's okay. We actually are fine with that situation because we will help settle their note or work out a modification for them so that they can now get back on their feet quicker. So it's not a credit issue as much as it is just a helping hand.
So Tony, can you share with me another story? Just, I know you gave one little example. Is there someone else that you've worked with that had an amazing result?
A homeowner in Baltimore, Maryland, she lost her job and had 2 young children, and her husband works too. His income is about $30,000 a year. Mm-hmm. They had a first that was $100,000, and the second was $80,000. And she hadn't made a payment in over 3 years on her second. Got a modification on the first. In the meantime, she got a new job and was actually doing extremely well financially, made over $250,000. So we bought the note, contacted her, and did a workout with her, reduced her principal by $20,000, and reduced her monthly payment by 50% from $675 a month down to $330 a month. Wow. Reduced her interest rate from almost 8% down to 3%. And she's extremely happy now. She's got equity in the property, and our investors making a really nice return on their investment. Those are the rewarding things for me. And so that when they get on the phone and you can just tell the joy coming from them and something that they never knew existed before, that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Tony Martinez, a ray of hope for homeowners. Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing with us this incredibly valuable information.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Coming up next, get naturally fit with holistic fitness expert Kimberly Johnson.
We're going to work on the lower abs today. So you're going to pull out a mat, we're going to be on the floor, and we're going to hit it hard. So let's go ahead and bring your knees into what I like to call a Pilates tabletop position. It's really important. I always talk to you guys about form, so you want those knees above the hips. And then we're going to reach the shoulders down away from our neck. And we're going to start with just raising and lowering the right leg and the left leg with a pointed toe. It's very important to not let your back arch up. Keep that belly button drawn in. So the hips are tucked a little bit. And you're going to keep this going. Beautiful. Keep the fingertips reaching long. The crown of your head should reach up. We want to keep a long spine here. As you're drawing the knee in, you're exhaling and bringing it down to inhale. Think of your abdominals just like they're a balloon and you're squeezing the air out. So when you bring the knee in, you're exhaling. Inhale, exhale. Good. We're going to double up now and just draw it down and back up. No arch in the spine. So that's actually the struggle here. That's where your body's working really hard, is to not let that back arch. Pull that belly button in, and that's it, guys. You just worked your lower abs in 1 minute. Good job. Thanks, guys, for joining me. Great job on the lower abdominal region today. Just 1 minute a day can create a ripple effect. I know it doesn't seem like much, but pretty soon you're gonna love your body. Just stick with me, and you guys, if you have any questions or a situation at hand that you wanna email me about, let's go ahead and do that, and I'll get back to you. Thanks, guys. Good job.
Have you dreamed of starting your own business? My next guest is America's most trusted network marketing coach. Ray Jernukian is the creator of the Success Now home business system, and he teaches you how to start and succeed in your home-based business.
It's a startling statistic that 97% of home-based businesses, especially ones that involve direct marketing, actually fail. So for those of you who are dreaming of starting your own business, unfortunately, the odds are against you. Well, my guest today, Ray Jernukian, is an expert on this very topic, and he's here to help all of you turn that home-based business into a startling success. Ray, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kristen. It's a pleasure.
Ray, tell me about this stat. It's quite unnerving.
You know, and it's really not even what I consider to be the truth. They say 97% fail. Here's the reality, in my opinion. 99% fail.
Wow.
They give a 2% cushion, and they say the people that actually make their money back in their business are that 2%. Kristen, I'm an entrepreneur. I've started 8, 10, 12 companies. I have never started a business in my life with the intention of breaking even. So I don't consider that successful. To me, it's the 1%, the people that really do achieve what they started out for, that get the dream lifestyle that this really does afford people. And I don't think it should be a deterrent, because for the average person, this is an incredible way to change your life. I mean, when I got started in this, I was a machinist, a skilled tradesman in the auto industry. I didn't know anything about business, but we persevered, we did what we had to do, we pushed. It took 2, 3, 4 years, but really in a matter of 24 months, we had my wife retired. She was home full-time with the kids. 2 years after that, I was retired full-time into my business. Now we're living the life. So it was a journey. There was a few bumps and bruises, but it was definitely worth it in the long run.
You know, what you're talking about is so much of the America dream, to go from an employee to an entrepreneur. But how do you start that journey?
The starting point is the biggest 3-letter word in the world, and that is why.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know why you want to become successful. What independence are you looking for, and why do you want it, more importantly? So many people want to know how to be successful. Until you know why you want to be successful, how doesn't matter. You're never going to have the perseverance, the wherewithal to learn what you have to learn, to move forward into your business, to take the bumps and bruises that, listen, if you're an entrepreneur, there's going to be bumps and bruises. You've got to know why. You've got to have that burning desire and something bigger than yourself. to really drive you.
So there's so many kinds of home-based businesses out there. Let's just go over a few of them.
Okay. You know, there's top tier direct sales companies, there's multi-level marketing, you can do info marketing, you could be an affiliate marketer, basically putting somebody else's product out there and earning commissions, all of which are great avenues. And I found, okay, there's thousands and thousands of companies out there, and like anything, there's good companies and bad companies. I think the people who find success the easiest are the ones who plug into something that they're passionate about. If you're into health and wellness, get into a health and wellness company. If you're into personal development or travel, whatever the case may be, find your passion and pursue it. Put yourself in the position that you understand why you're doing what you're doing. You've got to know that you're doing this to help other people. That's point one. And best tip I can give people for that, before you pick up the phone, make this statement. Make this one simple statement. How can I help this person change their life?
You are an incredible coach on this very topic. Tell me about your products and services.
Well, I've got quite a few products out there to help people learn how to do the basics of marketing. I've got a system called the Success Now Home Business System, which is really A to Z, how to run a company, how to get it up the hill, over the hill, and what to do when it's launched. And
coasting.
You're going insane, how to get your life back. And I like to go through this, especially even on a one-on-one mentorship, because now you've got somebody there to really help you plug in the pieces. That's really what Take You to the Top coaching is all about.
And at what point in your business do you start with a coach like you?
Well, I wish I would have done it on day one, because it would have saved us months and months and months of spinning around in mediocrity, not knowing what to do, wasting financial resources that we didn't have to waste, making mistakes. Day one is the best day to start. If you didn't do it on day one, day two is a good day.
And what about someone who's owned a business like this for a while and they're just not getting the results?
Right, those are the people I love, because now you've got somebody maybe they've been in network marketing or whatever the deal is for 6 months, a year, 2 years. They've had a little bit of success, but they've never really been able to dot I's, cross T's, and put it all together. But they're in now. They're into the business. They know that's the way out. They need somebody to help them. Those are the best people to work with, because they're in. Right. It's not a fly-by-night situation where they're going to quit in 2 weeks. So I know they're lifers at that point. Those are the people I love working with.
Absolutely. Ray Jernukian, thank you so much for helping all of us go from employee to entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
My next guest was one of America's youngest self-made millionaires in the field of real estate. Then life threw him a few punches. Now Russ Whitney is the author of the book, The Inner Voice, How to Unlock Your Passion and Purpose in Life.
Many of you probably have a sense that you have a voice inside of you that speaks to you and gives you guidance. But do you listen to it? Well, my guest today, Russ Whitney, is an expert on that very thing, the inner voice. Russ, thanks for being here on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me about this inner voice.
Well, the inner voice is something I started on about 5 years ago. And I had built a number of businesses and written 3 best-selling books. And I was on this path of a money-making path. I was measuring life by making money. And I went through a couple of life challenges, crushings. And, you know, I started to question what's life about? You know, what's the point? What am I here for? Because I was measuring it with new houses, more buildings, another boat. And the Inner Voice book that I've written is based on 4 years of traveling the world and me putting these things to evidence. And what I found, first of all, Inner Voice talks in 2 voices. So I talk in the voice of a warrior, which is generally 20 to 40 years old, and I talk in the voice of a statesperson. Now I say warrior. Warrior is 20 to 40 when we're trying to find our way. We don't know a whole lot, and we're in the information gathering era. And we think we know
Now,
everything.
can this be a man or a woman?
Both.
Okay,
both.
Man or woman?
It's definitely both.
Warrior man, warrior woman.
Warriorette.
Okay.
Warriorette is fine. But in the warrior stage, we operate on human training. This is what I found. Selfishness, self-centeredness, arrogance, finger-pointing, judging, blaming, self-pity.
No one does any of that.
Yeah, we all do. And what I found during those years now, for me, I didn't graduate high school. I I bought a book when I was 20 years old that said I could become a millionaire. And it was in real estate, and that's, I guess, what I was, quote, famous for. And I did, in fact, do that by the time I was 27 years old. And I had this voice back then in my head that said I could do something better with my life. I didn't know what, okay? And so I started to look at some of these magazines. I got an entrepreneur magazine, and there were some get-rich-quick ads in the back of it. And I started sending away from, and again, got this book. As I go back in time, not only does the book talk in the voice of a warrior or a statesperson, but it then talks about an unconscious and a conscious contact with the inner voice. So back in the 20 era, I would get this aha, the stars are aligned, lucky moment, guess who called me? Well, today I can see, by connecting those dots backwards, there was this inner voice guiding me all along. But I would fight it many times. And in the warrior state, we chase a lot of rabbits, and we don't catch many.
Right.
Because we're running and operating on total self-will. And that's what the book talks about. My first part talks in warrior voice. It's about connecting those dots backwards. Going through an abused childhood, not graduating high school, not having great self-confidence and self-esteem. And all of a sudden, I buy a book that says I can become a millionaire.
It's interesting. Are the signs always so obvious? Why are we doing this thing? And what is the relevance maybe going to be later?
Sure. Well, it wasn't, when I wrote the book, okay, I wrote it for the first half of my life where it was an unconscious contact, and I was operating on what I call human training.
Right.
And in the second piece is where I got the information from the travel to kind of go back and piece it together. How does it work? And I've worked with hundreds of people in one-on-one coaching and focus groups throughout these few years to really get evidence that what we're talking about is real. And when I talk about the warrior phase, okay, the warrior phase is the unconscious contact. That's where things are kind of falling into place and we really don't know. We kind of think it's us and we're not sure. In the statesperson phase, what I learned from all of this travel was we start to learn more about humility and tolerance and patience and the power of humility, tolerance, patience, letting go of resentments, forgiveness, which may seem, fluffy for some people, but I can tell you through my own experience that it's very, very real.
Someone is sitting at home and they're watching this and they're like, I'm ready. I love what you're saying. I'd like to let go of some fear and resentment. What's that first step? They
can go to our website, which is innervoice.com. And there's bunches of trainings up there right now. The Inner Voice book, I think we got to get new information to produce that new result. Today, it's what is my ratio at the end of each day of being happy, joyous, and free with the absence of anger, anxiety, frustration, fear, and doubt.
That sounds like a good measure. Russ Whitney, thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You may not realize it, but the words you say, both spoken aloud and inside, well, they have power. Hi, I'm here in Sedona, Arizona, and I'm launching my series, Spirituality Boot Camp, from here in this beautiful canyon. And what we're talking about is the 7 principles of spiritual practice. And the next principle is affirmation. What are affirmations? Affirmations are spoken words. They're statements about who we are inside the world that we live in. We may not realize it, but we make these statements both inside ourselves, is like the everyday chatter that goes on inside our lives, and also the things that we say out loud. So for this principle, I invite you to pay attention to the words that you say to yourself on an everyday basis. We see they have power, and they directly impact the reality that we experience inside our lives. So here's the exercise. Pay attention to the words that you say to yourself and the words that you think in your head. And keep a journal. Do it for at least a couple of days or even a week. You'll quickly see a pattern in the language and the affirmations that you say to yourself on a daily basis. Your heart is the strongest muscle within you. You'll get results when you say kind words to yourself through affirmations with Spirituality Boot Camp.